All right, welcome back. Kris McCusker joining us now from the 680 CityNews 680 Business Center. Did I get the lingo right? I think I never do. Kris, good morning.
You did. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'll give you that.
Tongue twister.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm good. This is a Wednesday that feels like a Thursday, so I'm good.
I'm sure the dates are very confusing for a lot of people on this one. Okay, we've got Canadian bank earnings coming on in. What are we seeing and what are we following?
Well, we have heard from the Bank of Nova Scotia and the Bank of Montreal already this morning, Mel. Both reported adjusted earnings per share, second quarter adjusted earnings per share that beat estimates. Both banks are raising dividends. Now, at Scotiabank, net income worked out to $2.75 billion. That was up 12% year over year. At BMO, net income worked out to $4.76 billion. Now, CIBC, RBC, TD Bank set to release their results tomorrow, and then National Bank on Friday. Analysts, frankly, are expecting tempered results as the banks navigate soaring inflation, rising interest rates, housing risks, and a stock market sell-off. Now, on those rising interest rates, Mel, another half-point hike is possible next week by the Bank of Canada. And we did learn today that New Zealand has hiked interest rates. So it's not just Canada, it's everywhere, rates going up to cool that inflation.
Yikes. All right, let's talk about Nordstrom. Feeling optimistic.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting what we heard from Nordstrom. This is, sort of a higher end retailer. The company reported earnings. The earnings pretty good by all accounts, but I guess the most notable thing here is that the company is raising its expectations for earnings and revenue for the coming year. And this is just the latest sign that higher end U.S. retailers are feeling optimistic that shoppers will keep spending even with that super hot inflation. And it's also not what we've heard from other retailers in recent weeks, with most downgrading their expectations for the year, with those higher costs eating into profits. So Nordstrom reported a 19% jump in net sales in its latest quarter, $3.47 billion. That was above analysts' estimates. The stock is up by about 10% in pre-market trade, but down by about 8.5% so far this year. So sort of a different tone from Nordstrom. It's interesting to see how that will play out.
Talking about tones, ringtones, and you have this story in here talking about payphones. I don't know if does the city of Toronto have? Yeah, I have still seen some payphones out
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that. I think I've seen some in the subway.
Subway system, yes. There's still a couple down on the platform. There used to be one here at Yonge Dundas. I think it's gone. Is it still here? Oh, yeah. There's a couple here we're getting from our team here. So they exist, but I think there's sort of the standalone ones, not actually in a booth. The booth is a whole other experience.
Right, and that's sort of an iconic thing in New York City, right? The telephone booth, like if you remember that shot from the outside of the of Monica and Rachel's apartment in Friends, there's a phone booth right on the corner. No more phones, no more pay phones in New York City. They removed the last one. They actually started this process in 2015. Yeah, here's the removal here. Bye.
That's kind of sad, isn't it?
I know. It really is the end of an era. So they started the process of removing the payphones in 2015. This after CityBiz was chosen by state officials to replace the payphone with Link NYC, which offered free high-speed Wi-Fi to those who were near those kiosks. So yes, let's jump into the year 2022. There are now more than 1,800 of those Wi-Fi kiosks in New York City. So this final payphone that's being removed is going to be installed in a New York museum. The exhibit entitled Analog City. Somewhat appropriate.
Yeah, you know what? I would love one of those, in my house, right? Those collectors, right? And then one day, great grandkids are like, what is this thing?
I know. I know. Well, I mean, like they're obsolete now, aren't they? Like I don't know too many people who don't walk around without a cell phone. So.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there are reasons why I get that they still exist here on the platforms and whatnot. I don't even know how much it is to pay for one, to be honest. Yeah. What is it? 50 cents? 50 cents for a call now? I don't know.
The last time I remember it was 25.
That was a while ago, I think, Kris. All right. Thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you same time tomorrow. Thanks.
Yeah, have a good day.
You too.